Hawkins. Welcome to this new episode of Explicitly Pro-Life Podcast. I have a live in-person guest today. We are in Houston, Texas. So, of course, we had to have Shawn Carney, the CEO of 40 Days for Life, join us. Shawn and I have known each other for a very long time. He and his wife were depicted in the Unplanned movie. Is that your claim to fame
I
now?
don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what my claim to fame is. We're still figuring that out. But yeah, that seems like forever ago. But it was 2019.
It's a pretty big deal to anyone who's watched Unplanned. We've been pushing it out across campuses, across country.
Abby and I were laughing at the March for Life one year, like right after Unplanned. We said that was an amazing experience. What a journey! It's been awesome. We never want to go through that ever again.
That's
being in a movie.
It's a weird thing.
It's overrated. Number one.
Okay.
It's like, you were in a movie. It's like,
not really.
I'm not like Tom Hanks in Saving Private Ryan. It doesn't work like that. And so, but it's overrated. But it was a fun experience. Learned a lot about the movie industry. Mm-hmm. Chuck and Carrie were great, who made it. But it's a whirlwind. It was 5 years.
Yeah,
it was 5 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I have a lot more respect for movie makers.
It was so great though to see what 40 Days for Life has done. The hundreds so abortion facilities that you all have shut down. To kind of see depicted in a major motion picture.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, that's us.
It's the volunteers. Yeah, all the local leaders.
Everyone's like, I was in the movie too. Like, that's me.
Hey, they're wearing the T-shirt that I have.
Yeah.
I'm not a crazy street activist. I was in a movie.
Yes, that's right. That's
so
right. I think that's
it's the validation.
That should be your bio line. I was reading your bio. It's long. You've got books and best-selling author, all TV, all this stuff.
This is all boring. The movies.
Really, your life was depicted in movies.
Is right.
Said.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we're in Houston.
You're camping.
Yeah, Shawn's going to take
So she's homeless.
Shawn's taking over.
You sold your house. You live in an RV. Your cousin Eddie now, which is quite exciting.
No one ever interviews me, but yes.
So you text me. You said, "Hey, somebody told me I'm near where you live," which is true. I'm camping on the lake.
What's the
good thing we're not in Minnesota?
Yeah, that's true.
They claim so.
It's a big lake.
There's a lot of. So I said,
airport,
"Is it Lake Conroe or Livingston?" And you said, "I don't know."
I know the town I was in.
Have you seen any of the Friday the 13th?
No.
I mean, Jason kills the people who are lost on the lake. He's got the hockey mask. You've never seen Friday the 13th?
My oldest son has seen it.
You're too young for that. But
I don't watch movies that are intentionally.
Yeah, I watched them in high school. You had to watch them, and the people are camping on the lake. I don't know, Bob. I don't know what lake it is.
We got guns in
and then
Norma.
he had an axe. You would have won that battle.
Yeah, we would have been okay with an axe murder.
But
we're on Lake
Houston, which is totally nice.
Which is the big lake, right?
No, it's a good sized lake. It's not the big lake here. Is not that one.
Oh, I thought it was.
No.
Okay, well, okay.
Most people have seen Lake Houston if they've been to Houston because you fly over
it. That's why I told the kids, I was like, Mom's going to fly over this a bunch of times. I'll wave to you.
Most people at Lake Houston are typically aware that they're at Lake Houston. I have found most of the time.
I don't know. I've been all over the country.
I know you go everywhere.
I was in Corpus Christi and I was in Dallas.
You're living in an RV. The fact that you know what day of the week it is impressive.
Yes, especially the past couple months because my husband was, I think, about ready to hurt me because every week. And then there was like a tornado coming. There was always warnings in Dallas and my second son's terrified of tornadoes.
But once you bought an RV, the tornadoes were just going to follow you.
Yes, tornadoes are like my worst fear. Yeah. So we actually, to make it crazier, we were in Dallas and then we escaped to Oklahoma City to avoid a potential tornado in East Texas. And my parents were like, why would you go to Oklahoma City?
Right.
But it was fine because the tornadoes were in East Texas and we were in Oklahoma City and then we had to come back.
And
the tornado came to Oklahoma City right after that.
I'm from Tyler. That's my hometown.
That's exactly where we were.
Yeah. So East Texas is known for their tornadoes.
Yeah, it's like all the time. Everyone's just like, yeah, it's a tornado. I was emailing and texting one of my friends who lives out there, who's the full-timer as well. That's the official term for my lifestyle choice, by the way.
Full-timer.
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 Our title is full-timer. And they were like, oh, yeah, there might be a tornado. We don't know. I was like, how do you not know? I have like 5 alerts going off on my phone that there could be a potential tornado tonight.
And it's not like a hurricane where you have 2 or 3 days. It's kind of like...
But you Texans are just like, yeah, it's another tornado. Live or die.
It's quick.
Be right with God. You're good.
Yeah. You got to be right with Jesus.
Yes, that's maybe why it's the Bible Belt, because everyone here just got to get right with Jesus.
I think so, because the weather will kill you.
Yeah, that's right. No, my husband's like, we are never coming to the South in the spring again. We're going to the mountains next year.
Best time of year. Everybody's moving here.
I know. You need to build a wall. You guys need to be building a wall around California, and you need to do it to protect your state from the Californians.
Yes, but overall, and there's a lot of little political nerds that have been analyzing this, Texas is getting the right people.
Really?
Like the Californians, they're not coming.
The smart Californians are coming to Texas.
Yeah, they're coming because it's Texas. They're not coming because they want to evangelize the backwood redneck.
Well, I mean, they're coming because they don't work for Colorado and like Bozeman, Montana.
They've got weed and stuff. They asked for it, and
so as long as you don't legalize marijuana, you're gonna.
I think if we legalize marijuana, it'll be bad.
It'll be all downhill.
It'll be bad.
No, I know. We lived in Colorado Springs for a month last year, and it was crazy, the marijuana legalization. Like, I had to sign a letter stating that if I was smoking marijuana, I would only smoke it in my car at the campground and not outside. I was like,
out of common human decency.
I was like, with
you
my
can't
children
get out of your
in the car or driving my car, I need to be smoking my weed in the car,
presence of your children,
but not outside at the campground. It was.
Can I crack the sunroof? It's so stupid.
A little interesting.
I spoke for the pregnancy center. I think it was Cheyenne years ago, and it was like a year after Colorado, and they said we have all this crime because all the weeds come across the border. Yeah. So we'll protect Texas.
Okay.
And then. You don't even have to move here like everybody else. You can just drive for a weekend.
Yeah, we're here for a month here in Houston. We were in Dallas. We did Corpus. Probably won't go back. We did it, and we've seen it. We did the one thing. So we get a little flavor of the area and decide if we'll ever come back. I don't know.
It's awesome. The food is the best. The barbecue and the Mexican food. Yeah,
except my husband has this long COVID, so he can't eat meat. So he's a vegetarian, not by choice right now.
Yeah, that's awful.
So for 2 West Virginians, it doesn't go very well because I don't know any fish recipes. So we just eat fish tacos all the time. That's the only thing I know how to make. That's like a non-meat, pescatarian friendly.
I think it's illegal to be a vegetarian here.
It's pretty hard.
I wouldn't go around telling people
that. The only place open between San Antonio and Houston last night were Whataburger.
Which is fantastic.
Which is great.
Not if you're a vegetarian.
Not if you're a vegetarian. And it's not by choice.
You can get a bacon cheeseburger at 5:30 in the morning at Whataburger.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
God bless Texas.
Your arteries can just be fully. I mean, good thing Houston has like the best medical.
There's a reason for that
in the country. I did tell my husband the other day because he was like, I don't know if we're coming back to Texas. Like, it's just so dry, and we like mountains. And I was like, the only thing is you really need to learn Houston. I was like, because when I get cancer, this is where we come.
It is a blessing, and we know a lot of people. One of our dear friends is dying of cancer, and they live here, and they would have had to move here if they didn't already live here, because MD Anderson was the only place they could go.
Yeah, the Houston hospitals are absolutely fantastic. I think it's such a sad dichotomy, though, because you have this great medical center downtown, and then...
The largest abortion facility in the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah, 10 minutes away.
78,000 square feet. Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
We've been opposing that since they bought it. Planned Parenthood bought it, and the goofball bank said that we didn't know it was Planned Parenthood. But yeah, it's they're dying.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah.
So from a Texas... So I did a show recently with Human Coalition Action, kind of the synopsis of what's happened in Texas since the heartbeat law went into effect. And it's really good.
Yes.
And trying to figure out from the pregnancy standpoint, are the hotlines are actually, they said the numbers are pretty relatively stable. Women are reporting the feeling of relief that they don't have to make an abortion decision, which I thought was very profound. But what have you been seeing from the industry, like the abortion industry, like this if they can't commit these abortions, what are they doing with this huge...
They're going to close. They'll have to close because you can't run an abortion facility and not do abortions. So, the real switch in our state was 2013 and 14 with HB2 and the Supreme Court saying...
What was HB2?
HB2 was the ban on abortion, basically using distance as a deterrent. You have to become an ambulatory surgical center. You have to be a real medical place to do abortions.
Shock.
And the abortionists have no money. Planned Parenthood was broke at the time. But So they can't do that. They can't do the renovations. So they closed. Of course, the Supreme Court told us we're not allowed to regulate abortion in our own state.
Yeah,
so
safe is no longer allowed to be safe legal.
Exactly.
They don't care about
safe is overrated.
Yeah.
So half of all the abortion facilities closed over the last 5 years during that 5-year time period. So they're hurting.
Okay.
Then you get the Heartbeat Act. And that, there's two things. Most people just choose life. It's the relief. It's not available. I'm past this is a sign from God. Nobody grows up wanting an abortion. That's all the good part. I did a new interview with NBC News the other day because they're doing this. The heartbeat bill is a bunch of garbage and women are just going to drive wherever. And some women do drive. And Oklahoma City is busier. Some women do drive.
That's right.
But you have to start somewhere. And there has to be a region. Otherwise, Maryland would have been a slave state.
Yep,
right. I mean, Maryland drew the line in the sand quite literally and said, we're not acknowledging that blacks are dehumanized. We're going against that. Well, they could just go down to Virginia and sell their land in Maryland and get a plantation in Virginia. And they could have done that, and I'm sure a lot of them did. But you have to have the line in the sand, and it's the Heartbeat Act is great because we're talking about heartbeats, and heartbeats, as we just discussed, are good. And we have great hospitals that keep our hearts beating, and we don't eat Whataburger at 6 o'clock in the morning, even though it's better than not eating it, because heartbeats are good. And the abortion advocates are now forcing themselves to reveal that they live in 1973 science.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how the lengths they will go to deny the humanity of the child and just make up these falsehoods.
Or acknowledge it and kill it anyways.
Yeah. I mean, I would really like an honest debate about just acknowledging that you're ending a human life, you're ending a unique co-living human being, and you still think it's okay. That is the actual debate. Mercy
killing has gone on since the beginning of man. So if you listen we wrote a book called What to Say When, which is like a pro-life apologetics book. When you listen to the abortion industry, they'll tell you that they love eugenics and that they love just to kill a baby because you don't want him or her, and that they'll lay it out for you in their own words. And so we have a chapter called In Their Own Words because we say defend life because we're the pro-life leaders and we run around and we want to defend life. But we all know life doesn't need defending. You don't have to sit there and justify. Now, the reason we're having all this birthday cake and we got these balloons is because little Sally is turning 13. Isn't that a big deal? Yeah, everybody knows you're 13. It's awesome. Get a cake. You don't have to defend life, but you've got to defend this brutal destruction of life in the womb when 2 floors up in the hospital, they'll do surgery on the unborn baby.
What do you see in terms of, so you've got Texas, but what do you see coming for, I mean, obviously with chemical abortion, how is that going to change what you all do at 40 Days for Life, not only here in Texas, but across the country? Because this is their next wave.
This is their final Brave New World. Well, we've been in our strategic plan and in all of our planning, we've been preparing for a post-Roe world. Because I do think the Supreme Court is going to overturn it. It's not heroic. They should correct their error. We didn't ask for this. They're the ones that dehumanize the unborn like they did to blacks and Dred Scott. So they should overturn it. When they do, it becomes geographical. And chemical abortions is the name of the game. There's still, in a lot of states, there'll be locations. We're in every location. Surgical abortions will always be a thing because they're making it more important than ever with all of this insane, you get an abortion at 40 weeks. Okay. So I think I do know our friend Brian Gibson and I were talking about this. I mean, chemical abortion is obviously the biggest kind of threat because it's harder to oversee, but they're not they're growing that, but they're expanding surgical abortions. I mean, the push lately is not safe, legal, and rare in 12 weeks and a pill. It's infanticide and it's 35 weeks and it's the baby's going to be born tomorrow. So they're the ones saying surgical abortion is still more in our future than we thought. And that's just a recent phenomenal. That's 2019, right? So these states, I spoke at the San Diego March for Life, and the day I got there, it was around the Roe v. Wade anniversary. Their goofball mayor declared that San Diego would be an abortion safe haven in a post-Roe world. So our mayors and governors in Texas are going out and getting Elon and Tesla to move here, or Charles Schwab. And I guess in New York and California, they're going to go and recruit abortionists.
Oh, yeah. Those are some great neighbors for you.
Yeah. You know what we don't have enough of in fill-in-the-blank county? I think politically it'll be more polarizing. I think that the grassroots pro-abortion movement is dead. It's on life support, pun intended. And Planned Parenthood has done a great job. They're very strong in D.C. and they're very strong in New York. Their current CEO is incompetent. It's a bad time to have her. I bet they really miss Cecile Richards. Yeah. But you know, these politicians, I think some of them, your wimpy pro-abortion politician they may go with it's the law of the land, you know, and I don't know if I'm going to Planned Parenthood has scandal after scandal. It'll be interesting to see how far they dig in.
Yeah, no, it's and how far they'll dig in, and then what the political repercussions of that will be, and then will they start to then moderate themselves and kind of slowly walk it back after they've made this initial big stand to make their friends and allies and their donors and the abortion lobby happy, and then when things start getting real. So you're saying from 40 Days for Life, you guys are still very much preparing to continue the peaceful prayer vigils in front of surgical abortion facilities.
And all Planned Parenthood locations.
And all Planned Parenthood locations. Okay.
Yeah, because we do that now, but that'll be more important for us. And we made a big push 5 years ago to get in front of these chemical abortion places that don't do surgical. So that now we weren't foreshadowing the overturning of Roe because the court was so different. But now that's more important than ever. And we had to convince a lot of people, because they're like, I don't have a surgical abortion facility. And we're like, you need to lead your campaign in front of these little Planned Parenthood. Number one, they're easier to close. You can knock them off easily. So they're easier to close. I shouldn't say that. Now I sound like Jason from Friday the 13th.
Pro-life way.
Charitably pray them out of business.
There you go.
Okay.
That's nice.
But those places are cash cows. But their workers aren't as dedicated. They're not qualified enough to be at the big abortion clinics.
Oh, so they're like the JV team.
Yeah, they're the JV.
I never thought about that way.
Yes. And so you get the turnover takes off because they're like, I love abortion and Planned Parenthood, but
not that much.
Now there's people out there.
Oh.
So this is kind of what they deal with in the city.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
So it's a lot of, you can have a lot of fun with it, but it's very important. We've had a lot of those locations, and we say fill in the blank Iowa or fill in the blank Wisconsin, this place closed. And on a national level, somebody's like, who cares? That's some little town. But that's detrimental to Planned Parenthood because it's a feeder. And it's also a cash cow for chemical abortions.
Okay. Have you started seeing in rural Minnesota, so you mentioned Brian Gibson from Pro-Life Action Ministries, Plam, in Minneapolis. Brian's phenomenal. He's had this amazing sidewalk council ministry for years. He and I were talking recently, I don't know if it was a podcast we did or something, but in Minnesota, they've got they got this huge grant to open up this mega abortion facility in Minneapolis. They've already opened up a huge one in St. Paul. Their twin cities are I don't know how many mega abortion facilities you need within 5 miles. But now they're arming vans.
Yeah.
And have you started seeing that these vans go into their goal is to go into the counties that border South Dakota and Iowa.
Yeah.
These states where they know are going to move to make abortion illegal or heavily restricted, so they'll have a feeder van.
Yeah, we got a plan to counter that.
Okay, what is that?
I can't reveal it.
But
we're on that.
Okay,
we're on that.
That will be interesting.
Yeah,
because they're gonna the van,
and you're gonna
need a whole app the van has moved locations.
The van, yeah. We're not following you.
It's now at the Dairy Queen.
You could follow him in your RV. Be like, don't do it. But yeah, the one could look at the map of the United States and see, hey, that state's a goner for abortion. That's a goner. And you'll see where the big borders will be. And we've done that, and we're making a plan because I'm telling you, we're in all of this, we're still dealing with natural law in the human heart. Nobody wants to have an abortion.
I know. That's the one thing they can't get over.
They can't get over, and they don't want to drive an hour. It's definitely easier doing 10 minutes. But they don't want to drive 3 hours. But now I'm going to like the rest stop area and looking for a van. I mean, maybe God is telling me I shouldn't do this. So
it seems a little sketch.
I'm telling you, we get in there. Of course, like there's 77% of the people having abortions are claim to be some flavor of Christianity. And in the end, they could be so far from their faith. They could be agnostic, but they'll tell us, I just knew I wasn't supposed to do this, and y'all are out here. That happens all the time. And Planned Parenthood has no counter for that because they're contradicting nature. They're contradicting certainly divine law, and they're having to justify it with all their catchphrases 24 hours a day. And we just don't have to do that. So that's why we are going to see abortion-free cities. Y'all are working on that. We're working on that. Our wonderful friends that lobby at the state level are working on that. So we're going to have abortion-free cities, states, and regions. It will be geographical. I don't know what you're going to do. I mean, this is why I'm not a lobbyist, but I don't. Do you now go to Sacramento? I mean, California's never going to get rid of abortion.
We got students to Sacramento this week.
Okay. You're going from Texas.
We're trying.
Take them some Buc-ee's barbecue. Yeah. But, it is the activism can and does close an abortion facility. It could close a Chick-fil-A. It could close, BLM and
don't say that too loud.
Yeah. If you protest Chick-fil-A, their business is going to go down. Now, you shouldn't. You should probably be arrested and not given the death penalty, but like put on death row just to scare them. Like, never do this ever again. I'm unconditionally pro-life, I promise. But but protesting Chick-fil-A is stupid and a waste of time. But you're going to hurt their business.
You are.
But the abortion.
He said that like protesting or praying or any presence in front of the abortion facility, I think her stat was like 25%.
It's 75%.
Oh, okay.
So the show up rate
is 25%.
It's 25%. The no show rate is 75% when there's people out there praying. And the reason that it works is because, yes, of course you're protesting abortion and the whole thing, but you're entering a prayer vigil at a 40 Days for Life, and that is the fuel that is required. You and I can get ticked off about something and be like, I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm sick of the whatever, fill in the blank issue. And then we're like, get tired, and we got kids, and you've got to fill up your RV, and you just get busy.
Yeah.
But when it becomes part of your spiritual life, when it becomes part of your relationship with Christ, that I am my brother's keeper. So I'm going to take this hour every week. And I feel empty if I have to miss it. It becomes, that's why,
it's a transformational thing.
It's a transformational thing. And we have 40 Days for Life 365 now. So we have 70 cities where it's year round, and that kills their bottom line. It's just detrimental.
How many abortion facilities do you think you shut down in the past 15 years since launching?
So we have 114 that have closed.
Okay.
Not relocated. Somebody's like, our guy moved out of the county. We're like, that's a relocation. So 114, including our headquarters where it started. We have 58 abortion-free cities. So it was the only abortion facility in that city that closed.
That's awesome.
College Station is one of those. College Station, which is a cool Students for Life thing.
Because everyone was students.
Everybody is students.
Yep.
But College Station is now the largest college town in America that does not have an abortion provider.
And they have 2 Students for Life groups there.
Oh, no, it's
amazing.
Awesome.
They've got the pregnancy helpline. I think they won our award for our Pregnant on Campus program.
We're always getting like free labor out of them.
You can use them for whatever you need.
Pay a few. We got some part-timers that are Students for Life.
The
best ones, They get jobs.
The best ones get jobs.
That's right.
You can always count, and that's pretty much the trademark of Students for Life. Everyone counts on us for free labor. Hey, Kristan, can you get 5 students down to the state capitol tomorrow? And by the way, they're going to get protested by everybody else, and everyone else is too busy to show up.
Right.
Because we all have jobs, but they can do it.
This is the other thing that's hard, especially in your role, which you do a great job at. But, we're obsessed with the youth as a culture. So it's like, we need young people at our event. You're like, well, first you need to start with people.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you need, young people. But all these politicians go around, and no matter what their cause, they'll just say, and we have the youth. And everybody cheers. Now, we actually do have the youth in the pro-life movement. But everybody claims to, have the young people on their side.
It makes my staff want to hurt me sometimes. I'm like, you got to go here, and so-and-so called, and they need you here. And I mean, we're constantly building, and what takes so much time and energy of what we do that I think that people don't appreciate or understand is we have to build a lot of relationship capital with students to trust us, to say, okay, when we send you out to this crazy thing, it's because we know this is a worthwhile investment of your time. And unfortunately for us, all of the students that we work with are very studious and responsible human beings. So I actually would like to recruit some slackers for life who don't really care about missing class. And I can send out all the time, yes, you need to skip all your classes on Tuesday.
I cut a lot of class going out to Planned Parenthood.
Our students are not cutting class type of students.
It's all justified. I'm doing this for God. See, guys, I don't have to go to history.
See, he skipped class, and look, now he leads 40 days for life.
Completely reasonable.
Right? You can feed your family, right?
Yeah, and it's,
I wish I would have skipped
I got a letter from A&M because my GPA was awesome, and then it slacked off my senior year because David had hired me part-time. We did the first 40. It was just crazy. Mm-hmm. So I got a letter from A&M saying, your grades are a red flag that you have a drug or substance abuse problem and you need to come into the counselor. And I'm like, I'm in all this crazy pro-life stuff. I'm not on drugs.
Anti-abortion advocate.
I'm a local pro-life street activist. They're like, why isn't
They're
that on
same difference?
Why isn't that on the form of majors?
You should that's something to I would actually frame that more than my diploma.
I got embarrassed and I was married. I told Mary Lisa, I was like, the school thinks I'm on drugs because I got to start going to class again.
Why wasn't that an unplanned?
See, that's the fun. There's a lot of stuff Abby and I wanted in that movie that got nixed out. But yeah, it was little things. Me and the lawyer Paradowski were exhausted, and afterwards it was this great victory. All that stuff was dead on accurate at the court scene. And he looks at me and he's like, let's go have a beer. And we went and had a beer. And at Tyndale, who we love, they changed that to iced tea in her book, Unplanned. They thought it was, because we had a beer after we won in court.
I'll never get a book deal. I curse way too much.
That's right.
It just won't ever happen.
I'd read your book. That would be interesting.
Yeah, what would you, about traveling the country and the
Yes.
That is what everyone wants to know. And yeah. You want to abolish abortion. Yeah. You sold your house so you can make your family travel state by state to abolish abortion. But tell me, how did you sell all of your stuff?
Yeah.
And do you have a bathroom?
Yeah, what do you do when the toilet's clogged? This is none of your business.
It's just a normal toilet.
It's just a normal, So that's what becomes interesting to people. That's.
I know. It's we don't have a house. We're officially homeless, and our home is where we park it, as my son will say.
I told you. I know we have to talk about all this other stuff, but it's going to be interesting if and when you ever buy another house. That's going to be a hard transition.
Yeah, we have some property out in Idaho, another state that also needs to build a wall from California.
Yeah.
And we need to go find an architect and all that stuff. And I'm like, the HOA says it has to be 1,300 square feet. I'm like, we're living in 400 square feet now. That's stressing me out. 1,300 square feet. That's a lot of room.
You got to clean it.
Yeah. I don't like to clean now. This is great. 400 square feet. In 2 hours, it's immaculate. Well,
so I have 8 kids. So we have a 2-year-old up to 16-year-old. I have 2 high school daughters, which is awesome. And when they were born...
I have a high schooler. I haven't used that term yet. Awesome.
When you're the guy, they're born, and we had 2 girls. They're 10 and a half months apart. That's possible. And I thought, I'm going to be this guy. We're in love. I'm going to be this guy that has 9 daughters that you see at church because of the 2. And then we had Seamus, our son. But It is awesome. You're terrified because you're like, I'm just.
But see, I feel like we did it all wrong. We needed a girl because girls are like more helpful.
Oh yeah.
Gunnar is completely like oblivious that anybody else in the world or in the family might be having a problem.
But you're most
like
mature.
We have meltdowns and we have. Where is my D&D book? Has anyone seen my D&D book?
But girls are awesome because
I know they're helpful.
They
care.
The most mature, and I know him, but the most mature, wonderful high school guy right now is still a moron.
Yeah.
Just because you're a high school guy. And I was like, I discerned the priesthood all through high school. I was like a little goody-goody. I was that kid that was going to be a priest.
Like,
and I was an idiot. Like, you know, it just doesn't matter.
Here you are drinking with lawyers after.
Yeah. After defeating Planned Parenthood in court, which was the approach.
After getting a letter saying he was failing out of school his senior year, the easiest year of college.
This is green tea, by the way. I just want to clarify for the record. So that's right. I'll let you smell it. But yeah, that's just the thing. Girls are so my daughters they're awesome, and my sons are awesome, and they're super helpful. But
sons are fun, but
they are fun.
My daughter is our youngest. I'm like, man, she would be a really great big sister. And my husband was like, where would we put it's human being? And my son is very mature. Like my daughters will watch this and they'll laugh, and they love Students for Life, and they love you and all that, and they'll like crack up, and my son will be like, Dad, you shouldn't have said some of those things. Like he'll be are your daughters involved in Students for Life?
Yeah, in they have a high school.
Do they?
Yeah.
Have they come to the National Pro-Life Summit?
They have not. We need to. The March for Life thing got canceled when I was going to bring them because the March for Life got canceled because of COVID. It was the virtual thing.
We still had some stuff.
Yeah, y'all still had. So that was the year I was going to take them.
Can't cancel this.
My oldest was born on the 21st, so the Roe v. Wade. I've missed most of her birthdays because I've been in a March, and so I know she turned 16, and I said, I'm not traveling.
I've had to miss all my kids' birthdays over the years.
No. And you only live once. So I said, hey, you're turning 16. I'm staying. She's like, you don't have to do that. I was like, no, we're going to do whatever you want. And she said, well, I wanted to go to the march in Austin. So
that's how you know you're doing it, right?
Yeah.
That's great. You got to get them to the National Pro-Life Summit.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Are you guys sponsoring it? Do you guys participate and have a booth?
I think so. Students? I got to give you some money now?
No,
I don't have any. Here,
this
I want to give you the 40 Days for Life credit card.
Well, you do have a great big location. You took over a Planned Parenthood facility.
That's true.
I mean, it's a way swankier office than our office.
That's true. You got it. Yeah, you got to come.
Students come to our headquarters and are like, this is it.
Hey, did you go to our headquarters, by the way?
No, I've never been invited.
Yeah, it's open to the public. You're not an abortion doctor where we have to call security if you start walking in the parking lot.
Sometimes I gotta travel.
We have a beautiful memorial to the unborn. Abby's been up there. She did a documentary.
I love the photo when the sign went down. I have used that. I don't know who took that sign out.
Okay, here we go. That's a great Students for Life story. Okay. Because that was a student who took one of our wonderful pro-life students was out praying, and Planned Parenthood had closed. So he still showed up for like his shift, like just an awesome dude.
That's amazing. The Planned Parenthood was closed and he was still praying.
Yeah, he probably skipped class. Probably like a surgeon now. But so he goes out for his regular hour, and Chuck and Carrie almost put this in the movie because the real story is actually better than even My Pillow guy pulling it down, which did not happen.
I was like, how the hell did Mike Lindell get down to College Station and pull that sign down?
That is Hollywood. We didn't have a bulldozer in the middle of 29th Street.
How much money did he donate to that movie?
A good chunk. I know the amount. It's nice. He was very generous, but he so that was not how the sign came down, and we would have never had like a party like Spike the Football. But that sign was being taken down by a professional sign taking down company, however that works. And there was one guy doing it. And it fell like that. And the guy, our wonderful student who's volunteering, he was out there and he just took a photo. But he actually filmed it. So we have footage of it coming down, and Chuck and Carrie almost put it at the end of Unplanned.
That would have been like a great ending of it.
It would have been. I was actually, it was powerful because the real footage is it coming down, but I thought it could ruin the message. It's so beautiful how it ends with Abby at the fence and all that. And you don't want to be like, and their sign fell down. But
I would have done that.
You would have done that, but you know.
I would have had like a prison scene of like a Cecile Richards.
The abortionist getting handcuffed.
Yeah,
But so where was I going with that? So Mike Lindell. Okay,
it was a student who did it.
But here's the best part. I'll get to it. So the sign guy couldn't get the sign like off, so it fell like that. Like if you see the picture, and then they couldn't like get it out of the ground. So one of their longtime baby boomer, beware the gray hair. We've talked about that. One of their longtime
the most dangerous activists. Oh,
that's right.
Be wary.
I gotta be free. I gotta be me. Woo, I'm scared of you. So the 60s and 70s washed up baby boomer pro-abortion guy, who longtime volunteer and kind of an angry dude. We prayed for him. He was mean to us. He had to go and get a hacksaw, and literally he sawed the sign down. They're a longtime volunteer. Is that not the full, the bigger they are, the harder they fall? Like
that is amazing. There's a longtime volunteer out there with a hacksaw. Oh my gosh, there's so much you can
helping the professional sign guy.
The
symbolism was beautiful.
You need to write a whole book on that.
I know. Abby and I have talked about that because we both know that volunteer from opposite sides. And so it's kind of an ironic. We know a lot of people from opposite sides. But, that's how it came down. But, what's beautiful about that is, as funny as it is that that's what's happened in America. You have this young man, this college student, and he's volunteering his time, and he's basically documenting this fall and who's still supporting it.
That's not bad. We need to write this off.
The old, washed up 60s and 70s. Yep. Most of the baby boomers had a reversion. They all went out to Woodstock and then voted for Reagan. But the ones who didn't are really the digging their heels in. And that's really what hit me whenever, he took that video. We'll give you the picture you showed on the podcast, but of that sign coming down. But that's the backstory, is that it wasn't my pillow.
All down. This is like a beautiful op-ed or something.
It was. You're gonna steal my op-ed idea.
I'll write it.
We'll go author.
I put it in there with Shawn.
It is. It's a Students for Life, 40 Days for Life.
No, it's a beautiful. I think it's a beautiful symbolism of what's happening right now in our country as we're preparing for post-Roe, as we're impatiently, anxiously awaiting the Supreme Court decision of what is it that we're seeing and what are we living through this time period that we're really living through, and then what's really going to be our generation's challenge. Because I kind of feel like the end of Roe, while we're going to be here to celebrate this ending of this egregious decision, I don't really feel like we can take credit for it. It's been 50 years in the making of people who've been out there before I was even conceived. Right.
You and I are.
I feel like some of the older pro-lifers are like, yeah, you guys get to go in front of the cameras and take credit. We did all the work, and it's like that is not yes, they're younger. I don't even get into those photos anymore.
We're young.
Old.
Yeah,
I'm too old now. So
what's good about us is we're young as pro-life leaders, but we're old at the March for Life. I mean, there's a lot of.
Yeah, I had to ask one of the students.
I just turned 40 last week.
Oh, geez, yeah, you're really old.
I'm so glad to be 40. It's so awesome.
I like my 30s. I'm enjoying my 30s.
When they're over, you're kind of like, I'm glad my 30s are over.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was glad my 20s were over. I look back and I'm like, I'm actually pretty PO'd. My staff let me wear some of the clothes. This is before I was wearing all black. I'm like, why did I ever have that haircut? Why did I?
Yeah.
Now I just. Yeah,
the Irish priest told me that Mary Lisa gave me style.
Oh, there you
I used to. I dress like a dork.
Brendan, our VP. What was Brendan's title? I don't know. He had a bunch of titles. We worked for 8 years. He's the godfather of our children. He started dating his now wife, and instantly Brendan became. I remember his first day in office. I'm gonna make sure he watches this episode. He had this big ass belt buckle, these white Seinfeld
That's
1990
awesome.
tennis shoes, these dad jeans, and he was 22 years old.
Yeah.
I had to take the man jean shopping. And I was like, turn around. I made him do the whole mom thing. Had to take him jean shopping. Because I was like, no one's going to take you seriously if you go into a college campus looking like that. And then Susie started dating his wife. She whipped him up right into shape. He's super trendy now.
Well, I got married in college. I got married at 21 I was a junior. It's Christmas break. Mary Lisa is 2 years older than me, so she was working to support us at $6 an hour, and so. You
really were a bum. And
we had a little dumpy apartment, and we were, and so my 20s were awesome. But I mean, I had 4 kids by the time I was 29.
Overachiever.
So it was just kind of like a whirlwind.
I know.
But it was.
I don't remember my 20s because I just remember sleeping in my office, trying not to fall asleep, driving at 3 a.m, back and forth to the building students for life. Like it's just like this. Oh yeah, and then somebody will come and like remind me of something. I'm like, oh yeah, we did that. I don't remember. It was exhaustion.
It's the running and gunning, and you don't really think about it or feel it. Like the fall of 2008, fall of 2009. Yeah. I mean, fall of 2008, I hit 44 cities in 40 days, and
that was after Abby had.
No, that was a year before. So in 2009.
2009's a year. Oh, that's right.
I had started speaking. And I was going to 40 Days campaigns. And we were moving up to Fredericksburg, to Virginia, when we hadn't told like Mary Lisa's parents. So we have all this like behind the scenes stress. And for some reason, like an idiot, I was getting a master's in theology from Steubenville. Like I didn't need anything else. And like total stress. And then Abby walks in and it's like, great, welcome, but it's so good, I mean, I was 26 when she walked in, wow. And that's what I really anytime we have students, like get over all this garbage that like your 20s are like the best time and all, and it's a lot of fun, but God will use you if you let him. If you go out and you don't map out your life, but you entrust it to him, make a plan, and go. Get married, have children, get a real job, raise kids, engage in this cultural battle. I do think that's our biggest threat, you asked, in the post-Roe world, is that, and I was talking to Lila and Abby about this, but my fear...
He just name drops all the time. I don't know if you know this.
You have to. It's a podcast. I don't know Lila Rose. I was just throwing her name out there.
I love how students are like, oh my God, you know Lila Rose? And I was like, yeah, she interned for us. What? Oh, well. I'm like, yeah. They're like, you know Abby Johnson? I was like, yeah, I was just texting with her.
Yeah.
It's a really small world, but people get really excited.
It is. And it's
I'm the disappointing.
No, you're not. You're a big deal.
She's the mouthy one. So anyway, you, the superstar, best-selling author Shawn. We're talking with Lila.
We're talking with another best-selling author.
Yes.
How obnoxious is that? I think Generation Z is the first pro-life generation that's anti-family. Yeah. Because they completely, they support homosexual marriage. They support all this trans stuff. And granted,
25% of them are LGBTQIA++.
IA++. You can't keep up with it.
I'm probably a plus. I don't know. What does that mean?
The people that just, if you're a guy and you marry a woman, I don't know where we are in the alphabet, but
you can be an A. You can be an ally, right? Is that what A is?
I love my wife, and I'm gonna be married to her and her only. The
patriarchy is what you are.
The patriarchy. That's what my kids told me.
You're the P.
The kid said I'm white and male and Catholic and pro-life, and so I can't say anything. According to the world, they don't believe that. But that's dangerous because this is such a great disservice that we've done to the homosexuals and now to the trans community. Is they have done a brilliant job at selling their feelings and their cause and saying it's their identity, and this is who they are, and that we have a month dedicated to it. LBGT, June is. You have all this stuff. It's the constant rationalization and justification, and they're yelling at everybody saying we're comfortable with who we are for real. And
no, really, we mean it this time.
But mean it this time, and you don't. You can sit there and be like, yeah, we sold our house, we got an RV, and married, and we have our kids, and it's just when you fight nature and fight who you are. When we validate this, I mean, the transsexual stuff is so saddening because our greatest gift of our identity, a big part of that is not our gender, our sex. You know, and you're a woman and I'm a man, and that's who we are. And when we start denying that so that we can find some other identity, we strip away our humanity. And when you strip away your humanity, you're easier to kill. And that's why the abortion industry, I believe, loves all of this stuff, because it's a further, they're dehumanizing themselves by saying, I'm no longer a woman, or maybe I am today, but I'm not tomorrow. And there is a difference. There is a difference between saying, and she had an abortion, and saying, and she aborted her little girl. Even the smallest mention of getting to know someone, born or unborn, it makes it more intimate. And a lot of that is our gender. And when you strip that away, you take away part of their humanity. I mean, all the Holocaust survivors talked about, they went in, they shaved our heads, they told us not to mention where we're from, they told us all individualism is gone. And the irony is that those movements are doing it in the name of individualism when they're really taking it away from themselves. They're just another label.
And it's fascinating, too, from the pro-life movement's perspective, and we're going to see more in this in the coming months. Planned Parenthood now, and I'm sure you guys have seen this every day, it's like they're this leading provider of transgender hormone replacement, whatever therapy that also sterilizes you, which is actually, going back to their original vision and Margaret Sanger's vision for people, it actually gets to their original goal faster than abortion.
It does. And the reason I think Planned Parenthood is so into that, not because they all of a sudden are going to start rounding up the homosexuals and the transgender people and killing them, but because they love dehumanization. Life is meaningless. Life is to be controlled. And that's their eugenic roots. But anything that takes away from who you are is good for them. Wow. Because it depersonalizes all of us. Yeah. And that's what they're built on. And we're built on love and saying you don't have to do this today. But they're built on the opposite. Yeah,
that's exactly right. I think we should end the podcast there. Mic drop. You can throw your mic on the ground now. That's great. No, don't throw your mic.
I've literally never met Lila Rose.
That's not true.
I know. I'm just kind of...
All right. Well, thanks, Shawn, for taking the time, for coming out from your home here in Houston, from whatever lake you live upon.
I don't live near a lake.
He runs for his life. You know, he's got a swanky house, guys.
I don't live near a lake. But if I did, I would know the name of it.
I've been living there for a month.
I would not. That's what makes it so bad. What do you order a pizza? Deliver it to the lake.
I was gone for 2 days. I've been traveling. Look at the bags underneath my eyes. I don't know. But thank you for taking the time. Thank you for coming to interview me about my alternative lifestyle.
Sorry, this was supposed to be the opposite.
It was just a great conversation. I got to ask you a bunch of hard questions. I'm so glad I didn't give you talking points.
Keep up your great work.
All right. Well, thanks for all you guys do. Looking forward to partnering with you guys in a post-row America.
Post-row.
Make sure you look up 40daysforlife.com and you check them out on social media. So you can follow what 40 Days for Life's doing. If you're not involved in 40 Days for Life, you should be by now. So make sure you get your butt active, because as we just learned, 75% no-show rate when you show up in the abortion facility. So that is a direct impact that you can make to save lives. Thanks, everyone.